what's going on, everybody? Looks like all the regulars are already here. Like they were here before I got here. Jersey, Crit, Rick, welcome. Got any more of the regulars out here? Or if this is your first time, say hello and let me know where you're from, where you're tuning in from tonight. What'd you guys think of that epic thumbnail for this video? I think I should just give up music and go into graphic design because that's some pretty dope Photoshop work. All right, so I'd like to welcome everybody here out on an exciting Wednesday evening. As usual, there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs. So what we're going to be looking at is Diamonds and Rust. So that's originally a Joan Baez song, and then Judas Priest has remade it like a half a dozen times, like different variations of the song. So what's kind of surprised me about this is that how many people that I know that don't know who Joan Baez, they know nothing of her or whatever. But this is a cool song, but something I found out interesting today that I didn't know. Apparently, the song, she wrote this song about Bob Dylan. Like, I guess they used to be like a couple, an item or whatever. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, Judas Priest did a remake of this. The first one they did, it was like really heavy. I mean, it sounded absolutely nothing like the original song. And then they started doing these like acoustic renditions of it. And there's, like I said, there's like I have seen and heard like a half a dozen different variations where they change up the rhythm and everything, and like really kind of change the overall sound of the song. So I thought that'd be kind of fun to look at is that song. It's easy chord progression, just chords that you should already know. But there's elements where we can do finger picking, or you can play it with a pick or hybrid pick it. There's strumming. There's just all kinds of different stuff in it. So it's a pretty cool song, I think. So yeah, so there is a link in the description so you can download that. And if you like what I'm doing here, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Think about subscribing to the channel, all that good stuff. I'm on here every week. Well, try to be. And I also do just regular YouTube lessons for this channel as well. Tonight's live stream is brought to you by the Canadians. All right. So I know this song, but I want to make sure I have my music just to make sure that I don't do a Darrenism and change stuff in it. Hello, Paul. Welcome. Oh, Rick, I just read your comment there about that you're still in the sling. This will be pretty easy, easy's playing for you tonight, so this should be a good one for it. You got Ireland sponsoring over there. All right, so if you listen to like Joan Baez's version of this song, it's actually quite a bit different. Like the way, I mean, it's like the same, it's the same chords and all that, but like rhythmically, it's like way different the way that she does it. So on Judas Priest acoustic version, and that's all we're going to be looking at is like the acoustic version. So we're not going to do their heavy version of the song because it's like basically completely different. But on this, they at the beginning of it, one guitar is like playing like the rhythm, and the other one plays this little melody over the top of it. And there's versions of it where they're doing it like arpeggiated like this, or other ones where they're doing strumming the chords. So my idea with how this is that the intro is going to be arpeggiated, and then the once it like goes into the verse and stuff, then we'll switch to a strum. So that way, if you're playing it by yourself, uh, it doesn't just sound. There isn't this big long just strumming through chords that's the same thing without the vocals. You know what I mean? It's just to kind of fill it out a little bit. Oh, that sucks, Rick, man. If just tuning is painful, then yeah, don't overdo it. It's not worth it. But a lot of this, I mean, technically, if like you just started playing guitar today and you just knew, just started learning these like basic chords, you could play this and just do like a really easy strumming version of it or whatever. But yeah, if I remember right, it was your fretting hand where the issue is. So yeah, it's don't overdo it. Not worth it. Yeah. So for this first part, yeah, then there's like another version of it where they play it like it's almost like a reggae kind of sounding thing. Uh, so we've just got just regular old E minor, and the way I've got it here on the tabs. And again, this was the idea behind this was so it's an arrangement that you could play by yourself. So you learn it this way, and then you play with another guitar player, and maybe they don't know the song. You could just have them just do the strumming of the chords and do the arpeggiating over it. It'll be all good. So all that being said, this as far as the picking pattern on this, it's not. This is just kind of like my rendition of it. So what I'm getting at here is like you see, it's E, the E string, and then the D string, then the G, back to the D, to the high E, back down to the D. It kind of jumps around. So if you, in doing that, if you hit the B string instead of the G string or something, it's all part of that chord. So it's going to sound good no matter what. And this is all like really easy to count because it's just all eighth notes. So you're just, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we did it with a pick, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that right there, I just hit the B string. So like I said, it's not a huge deal. So you could do it with your pick, or you could do it like a finger style. Now, if you do it this way, you're going to be your chances of being more, providing you have had experience with finger picking. This is it'll be easier to be more articulate of hitting which strings, because your thumb will be on the A string, your first finger on the D string, your second finger on the G string, and your third finger on the high E string. So that way, if you keep your hand in this position and just read it from left to right, it'll all line up good. All right, so that's the first two measures, is just on E minor. Then we go to a C, and it's just the regular old C chord. So now we're going to do the same pattern, but we're going to move our bass note that we're playing with our thumb from the E string to the A string, but everything else stays the same. Then we're going to go to a regular old G. Now, when you do this G, it doesn't matter because we don't play the B string while we're playing this G chord. But if you do, again, it's fine. It's part of the the chord. So whether you play it with the B string open, or if you play it with on the third fret of the B string, either way is going to be fine, because either one of those notes are in the chord. So again, it just doesn't matter. So just do whichever one is the natural one for you, the one you have muscle memory for. So now we're back to how we were picking for E minor. So we've moved our bass note back to the E string with our thumb. And again, our first finger's on the D string, our second finger's on the G string, and third finger on the high E string. we go to an A minor, and now here we're a little bit different. We're only going to do one measure of it. So again, we're moving our bass note from the E back to the A string. And then to a B minor. Now here, it got a little bit different, and I don't remember why I did this, or if I even, maybe it was a typo on my part or something. I don't remember, but it's this bar chord of B minor here. So we're barring this all the way across the second fret, and then second finger on the third fret of the B string, third finger on the third fret of the D string, and fourth finger on the the fourth fret of the G string. And our bass note moves back to the A string. But now we've got, and then we're going to go all the way up to the high E, and then back to the D string, and then the B and the G string. So if you want to be that precise with it, then when I move up to go to the high E with my third finger, I also bring my thumb up to play the bass note on the D string, and then the B string with my second finger, and then the G string with my first finger. So this is just kind of like the end of it. It's winding it back to the top. And then back to E minor. So that is the entire intro. And then that's where it goes into the verse, like where the vocals would come in. So up to this point, does anybody have any questions? And it don't necessarily need to be about this. It can be about whatever, guitar related stuffs. So while I'm waiting in case anybody has any questions, so if you were going to just do it with strumming, it just kind of that strum like pattern I do for that feel is just kind of going off of the vocal melody. Da 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 da. So it's kind of actually because you ghost like that. So on the intro you could do the same thing. You could just so that's two measures. So if you counted that as like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2. Let's see, 3 and 4 and so and the next chord and go on the same way. We'll look at more of that here as we look at the verse. So and if you're just joining us, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for this song. Okay. Give me a second here. I'm having a technical difficulty. There we go. All right. So after it goes through that intro and it ends on that E minor, then it goes into the verse. So again, this arrangement, just trying to make it so it changes up. So it's just not the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, it is to a point as far as the chords. We're just changing up, the rhythm and feel of the song. And also, if you are going to try to sing this, I feel that it's like a hell of a lot easier to sing over something you're just kind of strumming than whenever you're trying to like do some, articulate finger picking thing. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there's people that feel exactly the opposite. All right, yeah. So we've got that first strum of E minor is a half note. So that's the first two beats. 1, 2, and then The next one is on the downbeat of 3, but it's a dotted quarter note. So it's going to be beat 3 plus the downbeat of 4, and then on the and of 4 we strum again. So it's like, so we strum that on the and of 4, and then that's tied to the downbeat of 1 of the second measure. So that's why I was saying that this whole strumming sequence takes up 2 measures. Okay, we hit that on the and of 4 tied to the downbeat of 1, and then we strum on the and of 1. So you're and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now, obviously, when you're playing, you don't want it to be all super staccato like that. So this is just to kind of give you a way to kind of feel it. So if you feel it out, you may end up doing a strum that's different than how I'm doing it. It might overall kind of sound the same, but it might be where you're doing it where I'm doing a downstroke, and to you right there it feels more natural to do an upstroke. That's totally fine. It's the end product. Just like, something I call it goofy strummed. Like skateboarding or snowboarding, where they have goofy footed, where if you're right-handed, your leg is the opposite way or whatever. You're like right-handed, but you like kick a ball with your left. I feel that can happen with strumming too. It's not exactly the same thing, but a similar idea where, there's no point going against the grain. If it feels natural for you to be in this groove and you're doing something as an upstroke that I'm doing as a downstroke or vice versa, that's totally fine. All right, so each chord, the strum's going to be like this, like how will be counted. So if you wanted to do it like down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. C, same thing. G, same thing. D, back to an E minor, and then that's a repeat. So the intro ends with the 2 bars of E minor. The verse starts with 2 bars of E minor, and then it ends with 2 bars of E minor, and then it repeats. So you end up getting these blocks of where there's 4 bars on that E minor chord. So like I was saying, they've done, Judas Priest has done like a half a dozen different acoustic renditions of this. So you could change all that and do different voicings of the chords, like you could do it with bar chords. However you want to do it. It's an easy enough song to play. That could be a good practice too, is to switch up playing different chords, so you're not just playing the same ones over and over and over again. It can give you an opportunity to practice, maybe different chord voicings that you don't use as much. Everybody, especially at first, like really dreads having to do bar chords. So, this would be an opportunity just to kind of practice them in a way that's maybe a little bit more interesting. I used to play with this local gal around here. Did 2 or 3 shows with her. She played acoustic guitar and sang, and then she would have just like a backup band. And a lot of the songs were really, really repetitive, like 3 or 4 chords over and over and over and over again. So I would make it a game to try to, every time the chord progression recycled, to play different voicings of chords. So I never did the same chords twice, 2 times in a row. I mean, eventually, I ran out of, it's not like I know how to play 10,000 different, A chords or whatever, but it just made it kind of fun, and it still sounds good. It can kind of make it sound a little strange, but I don't know. I think it sounds good. All right, so after the verse, then it goes into a chorus. So the chorus is just using these same chords again. So we got C, D, and you guessed it, E minor. So for this, we start with, and the strumming now is changed. So we're going to do a half note on C, and then a quarter note, and then 2/8 notes. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and to D, same thing, and then to E minor. And when we go to E minor, it's going to be the same strum as it was in the verse. So and then it repeats. So the chorus is just what, 4 measures, just these 3 chords, and it goes through the sequence twice. Okay, so that's the chorus, and then from there it goes into, I think it's the bridge. So, does anybody have any questions thus far, or just guitar questions in general? It doesn't have to be just about this song. All right, Rick. Well, thanks for tuning in, and uh, good luck with that. Physical therapy hurts, but I'm a huge believer in it. I don't know. I may have like told you all the story before. I got into a car accident back in it was like '92, and I rolled a car onto my left hand. I was driving and I had my hand out the window on the roof of the car, and I ended up flipping the car over. And anyhow, I've got some pretty gnarly scars. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but I had just my hand looked like a softball, just stitches everywhere and stuff. And the doctor told me that I'd never play again. But physical therapy like did it. Like it hurt like hell, but they were able to do it. All right. All right, so the next part is the bridge, and so it gives it this feel like that the song has changed keys almost, but it don't. We go into a B minor, and then we're going to go to A minor, and then this part is repeated. So we got that same strum to A minor, back to B minor, A minor again, C, G, flip the page, back to A minor. Okay, now we're going to go back to B minor again, and the strum now is going to be like how it was on the chorus. So we're going to have that 1, 2, 3, 4, and to C, 1, 2, and to D, 3, 4, and. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then back to E minor. So it's going to end like the song, ends in like a similar fashion. So for all of that, you could substitute out and just do strumming for the entire song. You could do the whole song as like arpeggiated or as just a complete finger style rendition. Like I said, they've done it, like a half a dozen different ways. I used to play in Sabbath, Judas Sabbath. It was well, it's still going, but it's a Judas Priest tribute band, and we did this song, and the way I the version of it, I didn't know there was more than one. They just said, "Oh, we're just doing the unplugged version." So the version that I learned was not the same version that the other guitar player did. But when we played the two parts together, it sounded really awesome. So that's what we ended up doing. So I did more of like a finger style thing, and he was doing more of a strumming thing, and they just went really, really well together. It sounded really nice. Is that the thing you're talking about, Crit? That I just did? Was that the thing you were talking about last night? All right, so that is the all the parts. I know it seemed like kind of short to go through it, but considering that it's like 4 or 5 pages long, it's just that those parts are just kind of all stretched out, and I don't like cramming those kinds of measures together really tight, because then it's easier if it's spread out to kind of be able to get a strum feel for it. It's weird. Now I can't. I just have to do it automatically. When I did it, I went, "Oh, I wonder if that was what she was talking about." Yeah, I don't know. Don't remember. Oh, that's it. All right, so that's going to be the official theme music to my live streams. Is that? I'll have to make like a little trailer with like an '80s montage thing in it or something, or maybe some more mad photoshopping. All right, yeah. So, does anybody have any questions about anything with that song, or just guitar questions in general? We've got some time, so as usual, it's just general guitar questions. This was nice, quick, and easy. Boy, if I had a nickel for every time someone said that to me. Yeah, I'll have to try to. I'll have to remember that if I can't remember it, to come back to look at this one. Oh, you were able to play this one, Jersey? That's good. That's good. You played. I was stuck in ACD. Oh, in the that thing. So this is the first time you've been able to play something that we've done here, Jersey. All right. Well, I really appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. If you just joined us, there will be a rerun. And there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs. So yeah, so if you like this kind of stuff, you enjoy my content, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment. All that kind of stuff helps. I know it helps that whole YouTube algorithm thing that no one really understands, especially me. But this isn't my channel, so it helps them to know that I'm doing a good job and that you like what I'm doing. Oh, you take the stuff that we do here to your private lessons? There's 50 other channels. Uh, I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but yeah. So I think I appreciate everybody who comes out, and some of you guys are here every week, and that's really awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm going to do the same, Crit. I'm going to go, and it's enchilada night. So yeah. But again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it, and I will catch y'all next week. Too much hooch. I'm just getting started. Oh, no worries, Victor. Appreciate it. And you can watch the rerun. I guess it takes a few minutes for it to start working or whatever. But there is a link in the description where you can get the tabs for it. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody coming out. Hope everybody has a good week and all that. Stay warm. It is. I don't know where you're at, but it's been cold as hell here. But yeah, I will catch y'all next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.